Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Galactic Court podcast. Um, Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Happy Andor Season 2. Happy Star Wars, everyone. A week to go until Star Wars Day as well. So just all in all, happy Star Wars, everyone. That's what I love to say. We are here to be chatting a bit more about Star Wars, of course. So we're going to be chatting about the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, our cinema experiences, and of course, Andor Season 2 has kicked off with its first 3 episodes, its mini-film in week 1 over the next 4 weeks, and we're going to obviously be diving deep into that. But first of all, you know him. You love him. He's back again, as always. The man is an absolute legend on this show. Please welcome my guest for this week. Please welcome Clan Brandalorian. The man, the myth, the legend, Brandon is here. Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, nerd? What's going on, nerd?
How you doing, dude?
Man, hey, we're talking Andor today. We're talking a little bit of Revenge of the Sith. But I mean, yeah, happy Star Wars, everybody.
Happy Star Wars, indeed.
Man, it's just a great time. I feel like a week from today, I finally get to see my Lord and Savior, Mr. Quinlan Boss. I can't wait. And also, I get to celebrate my 2-year wedding anniversary on May 4th. So that's awesome. And yeah, just a great time for Star Wars right now. Amazing.
Absolutely. Before we get into everything, though, let everyone know at home. I mean, everyone knows already, but just remind everyone where we can find the Clan Brandalorian podcast shows and everything that you do.
Yes, so we got a lot going on. It's May almost, and so that means it's Star Wars month. But
It's gonna be May.
it's gonna be a busy one. So make sure you subscribe to Clan Brandalorian. We got the podcast, we got the channel discussing all things lore, theories, Funko, and Lego at Clan Brandalorian. If you missed it already, at Clan Brandalorian. And yeah, make sure you come over and check us out. Also on Instagram as well, a little bit on TikTok. At Clan Brandalorian as well, so you can't forget it. Clan Brandalorian.
Absolutely. Clan Brandalorian, if you missed that, by the way,
Yes.
just in case you weren't hearing. So,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. This guy's amazing, has amazing guests that come on all the time, whether it's Lego, as he said, or Pop Funkos, or just Star Wars in general. He's a regular on the circuit now as well, guesting on other people's shows. We love to see him out there doing that. We're going to be on Lights Camera Rant together as well, hopefully, if we just get our calendars synced up to discuss the season finale of Andor as well in like 4 weeks time, so make sure you're going around for there. It's going to be awesome. So Clan Mandalorian, burn it into those retinas. You see it on the screen there. Burn it into the brain and get it logged on your social medias, people. Of course, you can also find the Galactic Core podcast online, whether it's Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to, whatever you're doing, make sure you get on there. Get onto the merch store as well. Get your Galactic Core merch, whether it's hats, jackets, t-shirts, baby onesies, cups, stickers, whatever you feel like. Brandon, is your t-shirt fucking arrived yet?
No, it has
me.
not.
Jesus Christ.
I went ahead and canceled the order, and I have a new one coming. So,
Okay.
hopefully this time around it's a little quicker.
Yeah, we've had some issues with the company that I use in terms of having very long printing and posting times, unfortunately. So don't know that to tell you though, because like they do sort themselves out. It took like 9 weeks for my wife to get her hoodie, but it has arrived now. She's got it, so it does come eventually. Some of my stuff that I've ordered came straight away. Some of it took longer. Not to drop Lee in it either, but Lee from Lights Camera Rant uses the exact same people, and I ordered a hoodie and a hat from him. The hoodie came straight away. The hat took like 7 weeks. So unfortunately, they can be a bit hit and miss. I'll have to look into that, but keep the faith, people. But go out there and get your Galactic Court merch as well.
I will say they did say that they actually have been in the process with the new year of changing something that has to do with some of the manufacturing. So it doesn't seem, I mean, I know a lot of YouTubers who use Spring, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I think it's just, new companies and new merging. It comes with their ups and downs. So I mean, it'll smooth out. But I will have my shirt, so make sure you guys go get yours as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate it. I believe there has been one of our favourite films is been in the cinema for the last few days. The 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, 2005, when that bad boy came out. Even though it was May, but it's pretty much been obviously with everything going on in May for Star Wars, they sort of re-released it into the cinemas a little bit early. It's been absolutely fucking amazing to see the love that this film's been getting recently. Obviously, we just had Star Wars Celebration. It was talked about a lot there. And the fact that I got to see this last year in the cinema, to be fair, when they did the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace, Odeon, which is the big cinema chain over here, decided to show all of the Star Wars films, like the 9 Skywalker Saga and Rogue One, over like 10 weeks, so one film a week. And so I got to go see Revenge of the Sith last year. But 20th anniversary, I had to go again. I went on Friday night. Brandon, I know that you went on yesterday, wasn't it? Saturday, you went to go and see it.
Yep, yesterday afternoon.
Tell me about your experience 20 years on from seeing it.
Dude, I posted on my Instagram story. I was 8 years old again. That's exactly what it felt like. There's this weird thing for me, and I feel like I'm kind of getting goosebumps talking about it. But once Hayden came on screen to give the precursor for the film, when he said, glad to see you guys here. Now, what's gonna happen next is you're gonna see Anakin turn to the dark side and me fight Ewan on the big screen again. And it's just like, oh man, like he knows why we're all here. But I will say, I feel like there was so much. I feel like I was just so locked in that I saw so many things that I feel like I've never seen before. Just little details. Like I actually never remembered seeing so many Venators at the Battle of Coruscant.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a few, but like the more I was watching, I was like, holy shit, there's like millions of them. And also the shot at the end where Vader and Palpatine are now on looking over the Death Star. They're actually in a Venator. I never realized that until just seeing this recently, which is insane. I was like, wait, holy shit. So that was really cool to see. And then plus the invisible hand looked even more beautiful on the big screen. I mean, it's such a underrated ship in my opinion. I do have the Lego of it, but man, it is beautiful. And I just feel like there's so many things that I felt like I missed and just seen again. Maybe it was because my attention span was just right on point this time. But it was great.
I know what you mean. I said to you before that when I went to see it last year, because obviously the cinema's a very comfortable place. We have like reclining seats over here and stuff, so you can like lie back a little bit and get comfy. And half the time I end up like, you get a bit sleepy in the cinema. And I remember when I went to see Revenge of the Sith last year, I got a little bit sleepy and I might have missed 5 minutes here or there as I sort of like dozed off a little bit. But this time I was locked in. It was absolutely amazing. Going to see it this time, like I saw it last year, and the cinema was like half full, maybe half full. Ever since basically like lockdown and COVID happened, the cinemas over here, I haven't been to a viewing where it's been sold out or fully booked. Avengers Endgame was the last time I went to the cinema, and it was just completely fully booked, and that was like the midnight viewings when it used to be such a big deal. Since then, even like going and seeing big films like Deadpool Wolverine that got released last year, they did a midnight viewing for that, which is one of the first ones they've done since COVID, and even that was maybe like 3/4 full. It wasn't like completely fully booked. But yeah, so going this time round, completely booked out. That was astonishing, completely full. It was absolutely amazing, and then the crowd interaction with this film this time was unreal. Like I said, like going to see stuff like Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, like people were cheering out at different moments, and obviously really excited because it's the culmination of like 23 films and like 11 years worth of effort. And so people were like interacting, whooping and cheering out. And obviously I'm sure you've probably seen online some of like the reactions in American cinemas and stuff like of what was going on. So we don't generally see it to that level over here, but even with like Endgame, there was still a level of like cheering and stuff like that went on. When I saw this last year, and in, like, is it pretty much every film I go to over here, we're reserved as the British. We stay quiet, we're respectful, and we react during the film. You just take it all in and soak it all in, and then discuss it afterwards. People were interacting throughout this film, which is something I didn't expect to happen, and it was amazing. People were cheering at different moments. So when like Mace goes with the rest of the Jedi to arrest Palpatine, and they're like, it's treason then. So people are like saying the line out loud, and when Palpatine leaps forward, and, "Rah!" like people were screaming out as well. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Loads of people saying it all at the same time, and it's just. And then the best bit was when during Order 66, when Anakin goes into the council chamber to kill the younglings, when he lights up his saber, there was cheering and whooping as it happened. Just
like,
something
you guys got your morals wrong.
I know, it was brilliant. I just did not expect that to happen, and it was so amazing to see that level of excitement from everyone. Not just about kids dying, but just about being there for the film in general and watching it all happen. Like when Anakin and Obi-Wan start that battle on Mustafar, and the level of excitement in the room was palpable, and there was cheering and stuff as you see it. So it was unreal. It was just a level I haven't seen in a long time, and it was so good. And to see that with Star Wars as well, because I think the only moment I've been in the cinema watching Star Wars where people have like gasped or cheered or leapt up, or there's been any sort of like big interaction moment, was the Vader hallway scene in Rogue One. That's the only time I've seen it ever done in Star Wars. Even watching the ones I did last year, when I saw Episode 1, Episode 3, Episode 4, 5, and 6 in the cinema, it was just unreal. So
yeah,
we talked about the fact that people have been excited for this. Again, we just had Celebration, so perfect timing off the back of that to have the re-release of it. And we also talked about the fact that this has had the biggest opening of any re-released film in modern history.
Yeah.
So like 30 odd million or something over this weekend. And that's only up to today. Like, I think you said that they were doing it like Wednesday to Sunday or something in America. Over here, they're doing it like Friday to Monday. My only big disappointment, we didn't get a popcorn bucket and cup over here for the re-release.
Yeah, I feel that. Man, the popcorn bucket, because what I've really seen is the cup of Vader's helmet with the straw through the lid. You know, the one Hayden was drinking out of.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, you know, that one's $25. And I saw the Vader helmet, and the dude was like, yeah, these are $44.95. I was like, God damn! But I didn't know that there was an actual popcorn bucket this entire time. I thought there was only the popcorn tin. That's what I wanted. They were sold out.
Oh, well, I think I meant the tins. I didn't see a bucket, but that's what I meant, the tins, because they don't really do any special ones over here in terms of, like, you see the different elaborate ones that you get in America. We don't really get ones like that over here. It's just basically, it's always like a tin with just, like, artwork printed on it.
Yeah.
Very rarely do we get one. Like, I think when they released the latest Venom, the Marvel Venom film, there was like a Venom popcorn bucket, which was quite cool. And when it was like Kong Godzilla film, there was like a weird bucket that they released, but it was really fucking expensive. And so even though I wanted it, I didn't buy it. So because I've still got my popcorn tins from when Rogue One was released. I've still got them. The only one I bought recently was when the latest Captain America film was released back in February. I got the collector's tin and cup. Because I was like, I haven't had any new popcorn tins in almost 10 years. I suppose I should get a new one. If they'd have released one over here, the Revenge of the Sith one, obviously I would have been down and had that straight away. So a little bit disappointed. It's only my disappointment from this weekend is that I didn't get that. Yeah,
makes sense. I get it. I ended up getting the cup. It's still upstairs. Damn it. I don't know why I didn't bring it downstairs yet, but yeah, man, it was pretty cool, man. It was something else, and I feel like, you know, there's probably about 25 people, I'd say, in the entire theater when we were there. But everyone was locked in and really quiet because I would say when we saw Force Awakens, you know, 10 years ago, which is insane to think, it was every time. I mean, the first time we saw the Millennium Falcon, everyone was just like cheering. It was so loud. It was packed in there. And then, of course, when Kylo got Han Solo, once that lightsaber went through, everyone just had that instant gasp and just like, what the hell happened? You know, so I haven't really seen too much Star Wars excitement since then, in theater anyways. And that was opening night. So that obviously everyone was pumped for it. And the first Star Wars, and, you know, that continues the saga for 10 years. So it was really cool. But yeah, everyone was chill yesterday, which was cool. Last time we went to Phantom Menace, my buddy had to go get one of the ushers because there was a younger couple. They were easily in high school and they would not shut the fuck up. And that was just one of those things. And we're like we'd kind of look back at them, and then they would look and see that we're looking, and of course that triggered them more to just start talking. So my homie just got up and got the usher, and then they left about 10 minutes later. So
fair.
Yeah, I hate when people can't just sit there and watch it. That's something that happens a lot in our theaters, especially with Minecraft. You've probably seen TikToks and YouTube about that. That's just ridiculous.
I'm like, why have you paid all that money? It's not like the cinema's cheap nowadays either. So why have you paid that money to go in and then have a conversation the entire time? Like when me and my wife went to go and see was it Five Nights at Freddy's?
Oh yeah.
There was a couple. Well, they were young kids, probably equivalent of high school age. They looked like anyway, 2 seats down from us, and they were just giggling and kicking each other and talking throughout the entire fucking thing. And I'm like, what's the point of being there? You've paid money to come in and you're not even paying attention to the film and you're just pissing around the whole time. So I'm like, why bother? Just go somewhere else and do that. Go to a cafe, go to a fucking pub or something, just sit in there and piss around instead. This is not the place for it. No. Because I will strike you down and I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. So yeah, Josh is saying absolute facts, full-on convos in our theatres. It's just what's the fucking point in doing it? I don't understand.
Yeah, Joshy knows. Joshy knows how it is over here.
Seeing Revenge of the Sith yesterday, what was your favourite moment to see on the big screen in that film?
Ooh, my favorite definitely was Mace and Kit, Tin and Koth just going in there and just getting it done. Like that, I was like, oh my god, here it is. This is the biggest moment. This is where the movie just goes 180. So that was definitely the best thing to see. I will say I did tear up a little bit when Padme was giving her dialogue to Anakin on Mustafar. I was like, god damn, man. The older I get, the harder it hits home. So that shit, I was just like, nah, that's crazy. So I'd say that was my heartbreaking moment. But then I would say everything after Palpatine's arrest, that was from then on. I was just like, okay, this is my favorite moment right now, in the viewing.
Yeah, I don't know if they upped the resolution to Ultra HD or something, or 8K or something, but it seemed so much crisper. Like I said, maybe it's because I was a bit tired last year when I watched it, but I was locked in this time round. But it just seemed so much more intense and so much more bright on the screen. Like the whole, like you said, fight between Palpatine and Mace just seemed to glow on the screen. Yeah. The forced lightning that he's reflecting with his saber just seemed to hit different. And when what really stuck out to me is the bits when it's showing Anakin in between when Mace and Palps are trying to convince him to go on their side. And you see the reflection of the lightning sort of on Anakin's face.
Oh yeah.
That for some reason sizzled and popped off his face. It just looked unreal. And then obviously the Battle of Mustafar just was unreal. The speed, because I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but there was a welcome message from Hayden Christensen.
Yep.
And he stated that also that the Battle of Mustafar, they decided to re-edit it for this release in terms of the fight was, they edited the fight for it to be at the pace they actually fought at when they filmed it. And so it wasn't they slowed it down a little bit, obviously, from when the film got actually released. And so this release, he said the fight is at the full pace that we actually did it at. So, and it was faster. And it was unreal. So the fact that you get to see that as well and go, okay, they actually had to slow it down for the proper release in the film of what you see on Disney Plus, because they want you to see more of the action. Whereas what we got to see this time was fucking unbelievable speed. And the fact, obviously these guys, as we know now, 20 years on, rehearsed for 6 to 9 months to get this fight right. And the fact that they go at it at that speed is unbelievable.
Yeah, it makes almost no sense to think that that's even capable. And plus, you know how in shape they have to be physically to do this hours upon end, insane.
I mean, I don't think people appreciate the kind of shape that Hayden Christensen was in when he did this film, because the only time we really see it is obviously when he's like near the beginning, when he's in bed having nightmares with about Padme, and he gets out of bed and the dude's fucking ripped.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at. I kind of like looked at my wife like, this is the only man that you can, say is sexy because it's okay.
See, I'm not even. I can't allow that any further because my wife has a thing for every stage of Kenobi. So episode 1, 2, 3, and the original trilogy, doesn't matter his age and who's playing Kenobi. She's got a thing for Kenobi, no matter the age and
Oh,
time. So
a little Alec Guinness action, huh?
yeah. So I have to basically say like, no, it's not allowed. It can't be. So this is why I got for our wedding anniversary last year. I got a signed Obi-Wan Kenobi pop signed by obviously Ewan McGregor, and I was like, this is so that you will never have to meet him in person. Because you're not allowed near him if it's in a Kenobi like type setting, like Star Wars Celebration when we went, and like, no, I can't get a picture and autograph with him because you'll be there and you'll see him. It's just not allowed. So. But yeah, the fact that these two guys aren't stunt coordinators, they're not stunt actors, they're just normal actors, and they rehearsed for so long to get this right for the love of what they do, for the love of the craft, and for Star Wars. So we have to give a lot of thanks to them for that. But
yeah,
my God, Revenge of the Sith was so worth going to see this weekend. If you've still got time, go and see it before it disappears at the cinemas, because God knows the next time it will be in.
For sure.
It's a big year in 2 years' time because it's the fact that it's going to be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars being released for the first time, and obviously that coincides with Star Wars Celebration in Los Angeles. And so yeah, hopefully we're going to get something special, some re-release or something like that.
A New Hope. You know how cool that would be back in theaters?
Well, I mean, obviously I got to see it last year.
Yeah, we don't.
Excuse me. But yeah, so Revenge of the Sith, it has been an unbelievable weekend. It's been an unbelievable couple of weeks for Star Wars with Celebration, its re-release. Obviously, we've got Star Wars Day next weekend, May the 4th. So it's as we said at the start of the episode, great time for Star Wars right now. As a fan, just in general. But we have some new Star Wars content to talk about. We're not just here to talk about the old, we're here to talk about the new as well. Andor Season 2 has just dropped. So obviously following on from what was an epic Season 1, the slow burner that was Season 1 but turned out to be unbelievable by the end of it. Obviously, they announced that it was going to be 12 episodes long again. We were expecting 12 weeks of Andor. We're getting 4 weeks of it, 3 episodes a week, a time jump of a year through each week. So episodes 1 to 3 this week. What were your thoughts going into this season in terms of, we know that it's running up to, basically they said about 15 minutes before we meet Cassian in Rogue One. So we're going to get that full Cassian story essentially put in here. But what were your expectations going into Season 2?
Well, it's perfect because right in my notes I have right here that I was expecting not too much. I was expecting the pace to go forward a little bit, because the first season it's always elaborated as a slow burn, which it is 1000%. But it's just the way you look at it. You're like, okay, this is like one long movie, and that's also how we're getting things released for this season. But it from the theatrical take, from the writing, everyone loves the speeches. So I mean, everything going forward, we want to see more of that. So I mean, expectations wise, I just really wanted to see how the time jumps go, because this all has to lead up to 15 minutes before we see Cassian Andor in Rogue One at the beginning. So it's going to be super interesting to how it all kind of ties in, because especially after these first few episodes, it's like, okay, I want to see where these play into the bigger part going forward into Cassian's character in Rogue One. But yeah, that's kind of where I sat with it expectation wise. What about you?
I think I had quite a lot of expectation, because when you do get a good first season, there is then obviously hype for Season 2, and you're expecting good things again as well. The fact that this almost feels like a Rogue One prequel in a way, because of the returning Rogue One characters that we're going to be seeing. We've got Krennic already. We're going to be getting Saw Gerrera. We're going to be getting K2SO. So it feels like it was marketed almost. It felt like a Rogue One prequel in a way because it's just leading up to it. But like you said, that I was surprised the fact that they decided to release it this way in terms of like 3 episodes a week over 4 weeks. So yeah, essentially it's a movie every single week that we're getting. And yeah, I was a little bit worried about the time jumps in terms of how that was going to work because you've got to make it all feel connected together. It can't just be like a different secluded set of scenarios each week for the episodes. It's got to all link in together, and you've got a lot to do in that time as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was a little bit worried about that coming into it, but my expectations were still high. And coming out of it as well, you've got to then watch Rogue One because the director's been saying, like Tony Gilroy said, once you've watched this and you then watch Rogue One will feel so different. It's almost like going to watch A New Hope after watching Rogue One, and the connectivity that you get then. And go, okay, so we've got the story of how they got the plans, and the sacrifice that was made by the rebellion to get there. And then so there's more. You feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like there was even more at stake there when you get to the final battle of the Death Star above Yavin 4.
Oh,
because
yeah.
of what you've seen in Rogue One going to that moment. So this, in a way, almost feels like it should do that for Rogue One. Because you're getting then a longer story, even connecting everything from beginning of Andor season 1 up to, I guess, the end of the original trilogy in a way. So everything is then long connected together, and you throw in Rebels with that as well.
Yeah.
And it's just the interconnectivity all along, because we did get some connections to Rebels in these first few episodes as well. We're obviously gonna have a chat about that, but yeah, in terms of I was just high expectations from me because I need it all to connect in. I need to do it well.
Yes.
We spoke very briefly after the episodes dropped about how we felt, and I know that we felt differently about it. So let's just jump into that a little bit. So I'll kick off, I guess, because you're Mr. Positive, and I want that to be more the theme than me. But first 3 episodes dropped, and I felt disappointed. I'm going to be honest. It almost felt like filler episodes in a way. And when you're doing this over only 4 weeks, so the hype isn't going to last like over 2 or 3 months like it did originally. When, as we already said, season 1 was a slow burner, but the anticipation built up week by week over like 2.5 months. And so then it was, you could afford to have a little bit of filler here and there. This, to me, felt like it could have been condensed into 1 episode rather than over 3. I know that they're setting things up, but if there's now a year-long jump after these episodes as well, I feel like we haven't really accomplished much in this first year. This is full BBY. And so what have we really accomplished here? I just don't see what it is. The only thing that we've really come out of this for me was seeing the stress that Mon Mothma's been put under with trying to be a senator, dealing with her family, funding the rebellion whilst covering up her involvement in it, and dealing with everything that comes with that. And we see it because she gets white girl wasted at the end and dances the troubles away.
Love it.
But for me, I just thought everything that we saw in this, some of it didn't need to be in there. Like spreading that wedding out over 3 episodes, I think was too much. I think you could have cut some of that stuff out and it wouldn't have lost anything. I didn't see too much to the whole point of like Cassian being taken prisoner on Yavin 4. There were only 2 things I felt like that had a point to, because they said, when he realizes who they are, and he's like, oh, we've been supplying you. So like, can you say the rebellion have been supplying smaller groups with the ability to fight back against invaders in the Empire, and the fact that they were on Yavin 4. That seems the only point to it, is you can say, oh, everything's connected because Cassie now works for the rebellion, who are funding smaller groups as well to fight things, and so you can all say we're all connected and fighting the same people, even though he was taken hostage by them. And just the shot at the very end when he leaves the planet, and you're like, oh, okay, we're on Yavin 4.
Yeah.
That was that. I don't see the point of that whole thing. It was if it was just to get the shot of Yavin 4. Then you could have done that when he landed on there and passed off the fucking TIE fighter.
Sure.
And that was all that was needed. So there was a lot I felt that wasn't necessary in these first 3 episodes, and that left me disappointed when, it's 12 episodes, that's a lot, but when you've condensed it into 4 weeks, you need everything to feel relevant, because otherwise you do... To be honest, I haven't found too many other people that feel like I have about these first 3 episodes. Everyone else has been quite positive about it, but I've just come away feeling a little bit let down that this wasn't as packed full of stuff as it should have been in
Mm.
terms of pushing Cassian's story onwards. Like, the whole point of him being taken hostage seemed like just to delay him getting back to Bix and the others.
Yeah.
And you could have found a million other ways to do that. And so, yeah, to me, I just don't think there was enough in there to keep it relevant to his story. And considering we're now going to have a time jump on, I'm like, what was the point in showing those 2 days in the life of what they were doing? The fact that I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the dude obviously that dies at the end of episode 3.
Brasso.
Yeah, guessing that they found the one stormtrooper that can aim.
You see that in the trailer too, because when they zoom in on him, before he takes the shot, I was just like, wait, is he actually going to hit this shot for once? Yeah.
But yeah, only to just kill him off at the beginning. Or basically in terms of, Brasso. Royish, from Krypton Alderon's popped by. Hey, buddy.
What up?
Just to see him killed off at the start of here, to me it felt almost pointless. Like, I don't see the point in putting him back in it to kill him off. It didn't serve to me a greater purpose apart from thinning down the people that Cassian is associated with and making him more pissed off with the Empire. Right. Like, you didn't really need more of a reason to be pissed off with the Empire and more of a reason to fight. And you just kill off those around him unnecessarily. It's just like, okay, like, I didn't see the point of it. I didn't enjoy that happening, or it didn't, for me, hit home like really hard.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt about it anyway, in terms of like just off the top of the head, having finished it. What about you? Give us some positivity.
Yeah, I get it. I will say I feel like I would be in your shoes as well if this was, spread out 1, 2, 3 weeks. I could not imagine what we got on Tuesday over 3 weeks. I would be so out of it. No shot. So that's kind of what held me in. And I feel like the episodes went by pretty quick as I watched them. Not because it was boring, but I did fall asleep with about 15 minutes left in the second episode. That was just after working a 14-hour day. And I got home and watched it, and I was up, obviously more time. But I finished it the next morning with my son. So it was cool. I will say, yeah, if it wasn't all three put together, I would have probably been out a little bit. Because there was times in season 1 where I was just like, I stayed up till 2 a.m. for this. Great. So, plus I feel like I understand that Andor is some of the best Star Wars series that Disney has. But it's not my favorite. I understand what it's worth and I respect it a lot. And I do like the story overall. I think Cassian Andor is such a intriguing character, and he had so many stepping stones leading up to Luke taking down the first Death Star, and even to going into the second one and everything with the Empire. So it's cool to see that the connectivity, like you're talking earlier, how watching Rogue One going into A New Hope, you see what's at stake. But yeah, I think the first 3 episodes are pretty cool. I do like how it just opens up and it's just kind of like they're in that hangar bay and the lights just flash on. And the quality is just, man, it's impeccable. The quality, I was just like, oh my God. Yeah, it was great. And I think it was cool how we're starting off right away with, some stress levels rise. Like it was just insane to see that tie, Avenger, yes. And it pays a little bit of homage to Kylo Ren's tie whisper.
Yeah. So
that was a cool little Easter egg to see, pulling in the sequels a little bit. But yeah, I think, like I said, if they were all split up, I would definitely be like, okay, guys, I don't know about this. But seeing it all go by pretty quick, I feel like the overall story was told faster than I was expecting. I think it was really cool that we got a lot of Mon Mothma. I wasn't really expecting that. I do love the memes of Tony Gilroy's Mon Mothma compared to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's Mon Mothma that we see in Ahsoka, because it's actually polar opposite. But I mean, we get to see that Mon Mothma is like kind of a normal person, if that makes sense. Like you said, she's funding into the rebellion, also living her normal life. And obviously the connection she has with her daughter, it kind of seems like something that she's gone through as well. So it's just super weird, and you just see that underlying trauma with her character, and then of course her getting white girl wasted. I absolutely love that. As soon as as soon as the episode ended, I sprinted downstairs, and I was like, I'm reenacting this with her
Yeah, I
because
saw that. I saw
we,
you doing shots.
me and Mon Mothma we could go shot for shot. I will say it was just orange Powerade, so
Ooh.
no one get over your heels for it. But yeah, I think it was good. I will say there's so much controversy, and I know that this could be
Mm,
a part of the topic of discussion today. But with the grape scene, you know,
yeah.
everything obviously it's to a sense, I was just like, okay, I've seen this, plenty of times in other movies. It happens. It shows struggle, and it shows, some of the storytelling. And I like how Tony Gilroy handled it, kind of with the little press he came out with for the fans and those who were kind of irritated by it. I think it just shows, just how evil the Empire actually is. And of course, it's all point of view. But I mean, I will say, I think it enhances what's at stake here. I
Mm,
think seeing that pure evil from the Empire, it actually shows, and it kind of wants to get you more on the reason why Cassian Andor gives it his all in the very end. So seeing these kind of things happen, and that Bix is going to tell Cassian about this encounter, so that's only going to drive him even more to want to stop the Empire. So I think it was all um, good for the storytelling in itself. Obviously, I mean, it sucks, that those things happen, and I mean, Tony Gilroy even gave almost like a history lesson about how we're all built upon these kind of things,
mm,
and to think that this wouldn't happen in a Star Wars universe in a galaxy far, far away is kind of weird to me.
yeah.
I mean, worse things. We're talking about younglings getting slayed at the Jedi Temple. Um, you know, everything that happened on Mapuzo in the Kenobi series. We've seen something else happen to a kid and his father. So very, very. There's a lot of tragic things, or Death Stars and planets being blown to smithereens. Yeah, there's a lot, and I mean, come on, guys, Chopper, we know what he's done. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about the whole kind of controversy?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think it was something that would be that controversial when I
Yeah,
saw it happen, because you're like, it is an unfortunate part of human life that this does happen. And a certain big Star Wars creator coming out and putting a statement saying that Darth Vader would never condone this and the Empire wouldn't stand for it. You can maybe make a case for Darth Vader not standing for it, perhaps, but in terms of the Empire not allowing it to happen, I mean, an abuse of your power over those that aren't able to either fight back or defend themselves is absolutely what the Empire does.
yeah,
And so it's watching an a senior officer in charge abuse that power in taking the narrative that you are an illegal and the only way that and you shouldn't be there and I've got power over you and so therefore I'm going to exert that power in any way that I see fit is it should be no surprise that Imperial officers did that.
yeah,
Just the fact that we've seen it for the first time ever in a Star Wars show doesn't mean that it hasn't been happening. In the greater Star Wars universe, it would happen on any planets, probably in the Star Wars galaxy anyway.
yeah,
But the fact that it's just the first time we've seen it on screen, and people are saying, "Oh, we don't need to see it on screen." Well, it's an abuse of power that Imperial officers, I'm sure, have used.
yeah,
They take bribes. They try and do things to manipulate people. It's literally what the Empire does, and individuals are out for themselves as well. So you take any individual who's hungry for power and control, and put them in a position of authority. At some point, that's going to happen.
correct.
So yeah, I don't get why it's such a controversial thing. It's always going to be a controversial subject in terms of grape and everything that goes along with that.
Hmm.
It's human nature, unfortunately. But for it to not be a part of Star Wars, people can argue if it needed to be shown on screen or not, or an attempted grape or anything like that. But using that as an abuse of power for an Imperial officer, it should not be a surprise for anyone that it does happen or would happen or
Right.
would happen again in the future. So I don't get why there's controversy behind that and why people. The only thing I can think of any argument for is that. Yeah, do we necessarily need to see it on screen? You can acknowledge that maybe it happens at some point because it's probably, obviously, like I said, it almost surely would be happening because unfortunately just the nature of beings, or some
Right.
beings anyway, I should say. So yeah, I don't get all the controversy behind it. I can get behind the statement of saying Vader wouldn't stand for it, because I don't think maybe he would. Not certainly not in his presence or anyone under his command anyway.
Yeah.
But saying that the Empire wouldn't stand for it, I think there's plenty of senior officers that would turn a blind eye to that happening under their command,
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. And like you said, Tony Gilroy's come out and addressed it. The actress herself, who plays Bix, is forgive me, her name is escaping me, but she came out and gave a statement as well, saying that she was proud to do that because she felt it was, she could stand up for that kind of thing and show something that is important to her in terms of addressing that situation. So she was happy to do it as well. It's not like she was forced to do that scene
Yeah.
in a way against her will, in the way that Grape is. So it was, she agreed to do it. She was happy to do it, and she felt it was important for her as a person to do it as well as part of the story. So,
Yep.
to me, it was always interesting to see Bix go through that when she clearly has PTSD from the torturing she had at the end of season 1.
Yes.
So to add that onto her personality as well, it makes you wonder how the character is going to survive mentally going forward, which again adds to the suspense. But it also adds to the intrigue of the fact that we're now going to have a time jump, and how do you deal with all that when in terms of that going forward? And do you address it again? Do you just not touch on it again? How they deal with it, that's what we need to see. That's why the time jumps are an interesting way of dealing with things, because are you going to address things that we've just seen in the last episodes, or are you going to go, well, that was a year ago, we're not going to touch back on that now, we're moving on to something different? And that's why this season's going to be interesting, because how connected are the episodes from week to week?
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a weird subject, and especially for it kind of being the first time we get some context on it in Star Wars. But I mean, I feel like it just shows strength and power that Bix has, going forward. Because I mean, she is a fan favorite, easy. Crafting on Ilum, shout out to Tierra. I mean, she does a great cosplay of her. One of the first that I've seen. And yeah, I mean, it's a cool thing to see, a character stand up. It's not just Cassian, Bix going forward. But I mean, it raises a lot of questions, like does Bix survive this all? I mean, we also still have the massacre of I can't remember the name.
Gorman.
Yes. So I mean, we still have that to see, and does Dedra have the anxiety attack, or just immediate trauma from seeing this happen? So I mean, I feel like the dark stuff is not over yet. We're gonna see more and worse to a sense. So I mean, Tony Gilroy, with what he's done so far, I think the keys are in his pocket. I think he's gonna keep going forward. And but yeah, it's just the year time jumps for me. It's cool as a viewer, but I want to understand how that all connects as a story. It's probably my main thing that'll kind of make the season kind of square away for me, is just to see how it all kind of ties in, and if it's a useful strategy. Because I mean, if Disney likes this move, they might do it going forward. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
Carbonite's chipping in. Bix is such a strong character.
Yeah, man,
absolutely. I do feel like she isn't going to make it through this series. I do feel like in the next, maybe not next week's episodes, but maybe the week 3's episodes, that's where she might get killed off, before we see a big finale for Cassian. So yeah, interesting to see, like you said, how they deal with this through the time jump. So we already mentioned it, but we'll jump back and just talk about it quickly. But Mon Mothma, obviously this was also, I heard you boys are playing that new Rock Paper Scissors from Andor live on air. Is that true? Fortunately, we haven't practiced enough yet, so maybe next time.
It would be kind of weird because do we go on shoot, or like?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. We haven't practiced enough.
Yeah,
I need to get some more practice in before we do it live, I think.
Yes.
I don't want to. I'm too competitive. I don't want to lose live on air. So,
thank you, Vincent, for the idea. Appreciate it, bro. And go buy you some Carbonites if you haven't already, guys.
So, Mon Mothma, yeah. So the whole of 3 episodes was basically to show the massive stress she's under. So she's obviously effectively giving up her daughter for the rebellion. In terms of obviously putting her with someone who is obviously able to give her funds towards, obviously unknowingly towards the rebellion. She seems to have either way a bit of a strained relationship with her daughter over this as well, because she was explaining to her daughter how she never got the choice, and her daughter seemed to sort of like brush her off and be like, well, I wish you were drunk, like
Yeah.
your mother was, sort of thing. So she gets drunk. Obviously, the whole Luthen's there, which she wasn't expecting, and he's obviously playing on her as well, because he's trying to see the bigger picture at the same time, and he's bugging her about it. And obviously, her friend Tay that set up the foundation for it to basically cover up her finances to make sure the Empire don't see what she's into. And all of this she's trying to do whilst obviously actually being a senator for Chandrilla. And obviously it gets too much for her by the end of the episode. And as we see, she gets drunk and absolutely whacks out some moves on the dance floor to everyone saying that they didn't know that the Star Wars universe had such bangers.
Dude, that thing is awesome.
Little Easter egg for you as well. The music from that dance scene is a remixed song from season 1 of Andor. So that music actually appeared in season 1 of Andor, and they remixed it into a dance floor banger. For this.
Interesting.
So, just a little Easter egg for you there. But yeah, Mon Mothma, your thoughts on the stress that she is currently under? We know that she makes it through, because obviously it's starting to pull together everything towards where we see her in Rebels, when she pulls all the different Rebel sects together to create the rebellion. Is it? As we see it in the original trilogy, and obviously moving on to the fact that she becomes obviously the like the Supreme Chancellor or whatever it is for the New Republic later on. So we know that she makes it through, but obviously seeing the stress that she's going through right now and the pressure that she's under with everything going on, how do you feel about this?
I don't really like it. I feel like I feel like the stress levels, like I mentioned earlier, just they're so high, and the acting is amazing. I feel like she really sells what she's going through, and especially with Luthen kind of chiming in, especially when they're at the first little get together. I feel like his acting too just sold it for me. You really get to feel the kind of what's at stake in her story, because we're also getting her POV, and then we're also getting Andor and Bix. There was a lot of jumping around, but with Mon Mothma especially, I feel like she kind of had the limelight in these first 3 episodes too. I think what's going forward is obviously trying to get everything with the rebellion straightened away, but I feel like she only knows so much that can go into it. So it I feel like that is the overall stress that I see from what she's dealing with. So for me, it's just stressful as fuck, man.
Big part of these episodes was the returning of a Rogue One character. Everyone was waiting to see. Director Krennic, we get back. Beautiful to see him back, looking more Krennic than ever. I thought he looked more like Krennic now than he did in Rogue One, and that was 9 years ago.
Really weird.
So
I agree.
Ben Mendelsohn, fantastic job that he did. So we get this meeting. Starts off with this really weird, like chirpy, almost like tourist board video about Gorman and the silk or the material that they make using the spider silk and stuff like this. Really bizarre, to be fair. And then obviously they go on to talk about the fact that they're basically going to roll in a bigger presence, effectively taking over the planet and their operations to benefit the Empire. And this is where we see, the behind the scenes bits of the Empire, because we know that they basically go, and we've seen it from multiple different Star Wars projects, or we see the aftermath of it maybe, that they go in, they take over a planet, use up their resources, decimate the people, and then split.
Yeah.
So the fact that we now see it before that, we see the planning of it. And they talk about the fact that maybe these people won't submit easily, and they're like, well, we have plans for that. And they've got like propaganda guys there as well who are a bit too arrogant for my liking in what they do. But then also the fact that he has a chat with Dedra and goes, yeah, this isn't probably going to go the way we think, and I want your thoughts because you've already got a plan. So we see the fact that while she obviously is still having a bit of trauma from the rebellion at the end of season 1 of Andor, where the Empire got their asses whooped. She's also sort of recovered professionally in a way, where she's obviously still well thought of. And obviously, Krennic's like, you're the person for the job. I want you to be overseeing this, on the QT and whatever. So, what did you think to Krennic and this whole plan for the Gorman?
I mean, hey, you know me, I love me some director Krennic. Um, I feel like with how he was talking to no, 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 to Dedra, I think it was really cool to see his. You really get to feel his rank. He's just kind of like, I mean, if you can do this, I mean, cool, but I want to see what else you have in store. So really cool to see that from him. And yeah, it was the propaganda video. It just seemed like, old war times. I mean, we've seen, plenty of things in history class growing up where the propaganda video clips, are shown like, stand with us, fight with us, and here's the end result. I mean, that stuff's always used, and it's cool to see the Empire in that faction, and knowing that Krennic is actually leading this smaller group going into Gorman. So this is pretty interesting, and seeing those spiders too on the video is kind of interesting. I was just like, huh, this is like are we gonna get a new little creature that we may see on screen actually? So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, he's such he doesn't have like a menacing figure to him. He's just a normal man. But it's the way he carries himself, and it's kind of like, oh, I mean, his fate obviously, but it's a pretty scary guy at the same time.
Yeah, it was just interesting.
We need more of him. We need
Yeah,
more of him.
I think we do get more of him before the end of this, to be fair, because I'm sure I saw bits from the trailer where he was arguing with people and stuff. So I do think we will see a bit more of him before the end of this, especially the closer we get to the Rogue One timeline as well. So, but just the calculating coldness of Krennic and the Empire. And we know that this is all being put towards the end goal of the Death Star. This is Krennic's whole plan. Simply because we also see some of the technicians around the table have the Stardust insignia on their arms.
Yeah.
So we know that obviously he wants to get hold of this material and put it towards youth on the Death Star and to Project Stardust. So all going towards the end game of the Death Star. Even obviously Andor season 1, we saw that with the prisoners making parts that are going towards being used on the Death Star, and now obviously they're about to invade a planet and take their resource towards getting that as well. So, but Dedra is an interesting one, simply because, like I said, she seems to be suffering a little bit of trauma from the end of season 1, but professionally seems to have recovered, even though her boss said to her, this is going to to everyone else, this is going to appear like you're being demoted, but to be put in charge of this project, but you're going to have like free reign to do what you want. And when you come out at the other end of it, you'll actually be higher than everyone else. So a little bit of a carrot stick situation here, but we get Dedra and Cyril, who are quite possibly one of the most boring and hated couples in all of Star Wars. And Cyril's mum as well is fucking annoying.
The secondhand embarrassment watching that, I was just like, God, and the way she handles her food, nah. And God, they're so awkward. Kills me. It's just the entire them on screen together, just nothing but secondhand embarrassment. But I think they sell it pretty well.
His mum is the worst.
Yeah, his mom sucks.
But the fact that because Cyril effectively saved her at the end of season 1, they've now somehow ended up as a couple.
Yeah.
Really? I find that he would be too bland and boring for Dedra to really stay with him for like over a year anyway, because it's been a year, isn't it? They said it's like 1 year later. So
hey, who knows? Maybe off camera within the year, he's like, hey, I don't like sand. And I mean, girls love that, man. They love that.
Oh dear. Maybe he's just dynamite in bed and we just don't expect it.
Yeah. Maybe Cyril's got that thing on him.
I don't want to think about that. I don't know why even I mentioned that one. I don't want to think about that. Cyril's boring. He just loves missionary.
Yeah, weird guy.
Yeah, the worst couple I could possibly imagine seeing together on screen. You could literally put any other two people together in the Star Wars universe, and I'd be more excited to see them as a couple than these two.
Yeah, I agree.
So, we'll have to see where it goes. I don't know what sort of impact Cyril's going to have on this season, to be honest. He was annoying last season, and I didn't think he needed as big a role as he ended up getting. and it's not like he had the biggest impact in the end anyway.
No.
So I don't know the need to maybe continue his story this season. Maybe he gets killed in an episode or two. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That or he just joins the rebellion somehow. I don't know. I could just see him kind of having that come to light where he's just like, nah, Empire is not for me. And maybe Dedra backs out. Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, because he's like an analyst type person now, isn't he?
Yeah.
His job. So maybe he's analyzing stuff and he finds like holes. Like he looks into Mon Mothma and finds holes in her finances, and that leads to her obviously having to, like, as we see in Rebels, leaving in the Senate and stuff. So who knows what role he's got to play? But yeah, I can't stand him, to be honest. I hope that they get killed off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Anything else from these episodes you wanted to touch on? I mean, in terms of what was the point in what are they doing with this TIE Avenger that they stole? Because we don't see that, and like, what's that going to end up doing? Because they go and steal it. He obviously gets kidnapped for a couple of days, and then comes back and finds obviously Bix and the brother or whatever, and they fly off. And so, if we're going to have a time jump for a year, what was the whole point? I mean, I guess it was because obviously Luthen sanctioned a mission, didn't he? So
Yeah.
it's probably just to get it and obviously see what's going on with their advancements and stuff. But I feel like the episodes, because of the time jumps, everything has to have a meaning and needs to mean something. And stealing the TIE fighter just to show he was on a mission and delay him from coming back to stopping the Empire with Bix and Brasso, just... I want to see what they do with the ship in the end. Because surely that leads to, like, Thrawn, in a way. Because obviously the TIE Interceptor, is it, that we see in Rebels?
Yeah. Was it the TIE Defender, maybe?
TIE Defender, that's it, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be... that. When you asked if there's anything else that you want to touch on, it was definitely the TIE Interceptor, I thought, or the TIE Advance, because it's such a cool ship, and at the same time, the Lego guy I want that as a set, even though it looks very similar to kind of like a stubby Interceptor. I mean, it's very cool, and plus you can really, I mean, in Force Awakens with Poe Dameron, he's like, oh my god, like these things are so touchy, and you kind of feel that too. But with this one, it's kind of, you already knew Cassian was going to have a hard time trying to fly this thing. So, I mean, it shows that the TIE fighter pilots are freaking awesome with how they can handle it, and obviously the training that they go through. But I think it's so cool that we get to see everything inside. I mean, they can have passengers also in the cockpit. He can, be in a flight mode and, fiddle around back there. That's really cool. And plus, like the screen, it's all right there on the cockpit window. So that's really cool. But yeah, I think that was kind of the highlight action wise. There's not a lot of action in Andor, but I feel like we're starting to really get into it. But I mean, that was really probably the coolest part as eye candy. So yeah, I mean, the TIE Advance, sign me up. I want to see some more of it. But yeah, what's going to happen with it a year later? Is he still just cruising in it a year later? I don't know.
I mean, in terms of, well, there was like, I wasn't sure if it was her or not. So I wanted to ask you, because I haven't actually looked it up. But at the end of the episode 3, when we see Tay from the wedding, obviously you've been trying to, like, basically get a bribe out of Mon Mothma the whole fucking wedding, and Luthen's like, okay, well, we can't be dealing with this now, because he's like, it's like he's going to gossip everything to the father of the of the groom at the wedding and find something out. So he obviously arranges for a new driver to come in. Was this Cinta from season 1?
Yeah,
the driver. Because I wasn't 100% sure. I looked and went, oh, is that Cinta? Because it obviously, thought it was, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, oh, this is what she's doing. Okay, cool.
Because obviously it looks like her and Vel haven't really been in touch for a while. Like, Luthen's been sending Cinta out on missions and kept them apart. And like, Vel obviously was slumped down at a window at the end of the episode, so it looked like she'd maybe seen Cinta and gone, okay, so she's just fucking doing shit for Luthen, and she's about to take this guy off and kill him.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're going to maybe tap in a little bit to their story again, even though it wasn't a massive part of season 1. But they've obviously built up a little bit already here. So, but again, it's not like we're following on next week from where this is all left off. So I don't really know where we're going with these little story threads that they're still continuing from season one, but don't seem like it can be relevant when you've got year-long gaps between everything. I
Yeah.
just keep coming back to the year jumps now. Now I think about it more and more. It's like, how relevant are all these little bits? Maybe you should just be concentrating on Mon Mothma and Andor and Luthen rather than trying to tie up all the other little threads.
Yeah, that's what I can't wait for Tuesdays,
Mm.
little drop, because I want to know. Okay, does the first week mean more now? Does it, the just simply the 3 episodes a week? Does this make more sense now?
Mm.
Can we see what's it's going to shape for the next week? But I mean, shit, we already got 2 more days till we see the next batch. So
I mean, it's something I did message you about, wasn't it? It's that I think for these first episodes, because I wasn't personally thrilled about them, I need to see them in context with the rest of the series to see how relevant they are and how big an impact they have on the rest of it. So, I mean, lastly, what I want to do, I just want to run through some of the Easter eggs that we saw in these 3 episodes and just get your thoughts on them. So, the first one, we know that the Rakatan species and the invasions are now a canon thing. The Rakatans being one of the first, if not the first, spacefaring species in the Star Wars galaxy. And we saw that Luthen obviously found an old Chandrilan statue, and that was supposedly taken by the Rakatans during an invasion, like 25,000 years ago or whatever. So they're now a canon species in Star Wars, and that's still now sort of a fact. Obviously, mostly their story comes from legends, but being the first spacefaring species in the Star Wars universe, and supposedly strong with the Force as well, and some of them being resistant to the Force in terms of being used against them. Quite interesting, I think, that we're finally
yeah.
getting that now. Maybe they touch on that in the Dawn of the Jedi movie as well.
Oh shit, yeah, way to connect it. That'd be cool. James Mangold / Tony Gilroy, little Easter egg there. That'd be cool.
Obviously, we saw Yavin 4. Sort of just saw the temples as well. So obviously, we know that they're coming back to there in the near future. Already talked about the dance music from the wedding scene. The similarities in Poe and in Andor stealing the tie, similar to obviously Poe and Finn stealing the
Love
TIE
that.
fighter in episode 7. So nice little sort of connection there, making sort of them like look a bit similar and stuff. So connecting it all and a little bit of highlight to episode 7, I guess, was quite cool.
Yes.
The TIE interceptor sounds that we heard in this episode were apparently the exact same ones they use in the Battlefront 2 loading screens
Okay.
for the games.
I noticed it was kind of faint. I don't know if the volume wasn't high on my TV or something, but I noticed that the sounds of it seemed kind of faint at moments.
But confirmed that they're the exact same ones they used in Battlefront 2 to
That's
using
dope.
them in these episodes as well. So nice little weird connection there. And we did get to see the TIE Striker as well that we see in Rogue One. We got to see one of those flying around.
Yes.
So again, connections all the way up to Rogue One, coming nice and early. The Sinar Advanced Project Lab that we see Cassian breaking or in in the first episode. The Sinar Advanced Project Lab has been mentioned before in Star Wars. There was one on Rebels in Lothal. It's like Sinar are like a defense company or something, or a defense contractor for the Empire. So the fact that they've taken something connecting it to Rebels, and that's quite cool that they're linking it to obviously what's going on in Lothal. Especially since that's where the TIE Avenger is, which makes me think we're tying into Thrawn and the TIE Defender.
Holy shit! Could you imagine seeing him like in a couple? Do you think if Thrawn showed up somehow that would kind of take away? What do you think?
I don't. I'd love to see him just for like a 5-minute cameo and like a meeting somewhere between like Krennic and him and somewhere else is about resources. Because obviously we saw there was a scene in Rebels where Thrawn is like talking to for some reason the name's got it in my head. Tarkin, that was it. Sorry, about how he needs resources for the TIE Defender program, but how Tarkin was saying that Krennic needed them for Project Stardust. And so there could be another scene where they're battling for resources, and he's talking about the fact Thrawn just shows up for 5 minutes, talking about the need for the TIE Defender more than ever, especially since the TIE Avenger project was compromised.
You think that could kind of tie into Morgan Elsbeth's episodes with Tales of the Empire, kind
Yeah,
of make it make more sense?
again, yeah, it'd be linking it all together. So it doesn't like we don't need like a massive Thrawn bit here, but just a 5 minute meeting
Shit, I'm down.
would kick it right off, I think, and just connect it even more. So
Yeah.
whilst we're talking about being in that first episode, the password Kafrene, which the woman tells Andor is the password if he gets onto like the floor and gets stopped by anyone. Kafrene is also the name of the planet where we first meet Cassian in Rogue One, where we're going to end up at the end of this. So just a little Easter egg one there.
Cool little throw in, yeah.
When we got to Luthen's shop, when his assistant goes back there, when she's trying to contact Cassian, I was trying to be eagle-eyed to see if we could spot any good Easter eggs in there, because obviously we saw a lot in season 1, and quite a few of them still seem to be in there. So there wasn't much change. There was one big one though, which I didn't see it myself. I obviously did read about it, but the Holy Grail cup from Indiana Jones was in his shop. So again, Indiana Jones and Star Wars have a habit of tying each other in somewhere along the line.
I've never seen Indiana Jones ever. I need to watch it though.
You've never seen it? Okay.
No, I've never seen it.
I mean, there's a moment in Indiana Jones when on like a wooden thing with hieroglyphs, there's a carving that's making it look a hieroglyph, but it's R2D2 and C3PO at the bottom.
I've seen the pictures of that.
Yeah, and also in a Clone Wars episode, some of the battle droids are carrying, they're loading loot onto a ship to escape, and they're carrying. Fuck me, I can't. Sometimes my memory just absolutely deserts me. But there's something they're carrying from Indiana Jones onto the ship.
That's cool.
Something from the first film. For some reason, my mind's gone blank as to what the fuck it was. That's really bugging me now. It's the Ark from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, okay.
So they're literally just seen carrying that onto a ship to escape. I think it's when Wat Tamble's trying to escape, and they're seen loading it on there. So that's a nice little Easter egg as well. But just seeing the Holy Grail, the back and forth between Indiana, obviously it's all Lucasfilm at the end of the day. So
yeah.
And the big one probably for me was getting to see Erskine Semaj on screen. It was a very brief moment when Luthen was talking to him, and he asks him and what his name, and he's an aide to Mon Mothma. Now in Rebels, when the Rebels crew go and pick up Mon Mothma to take her to the meet, she's got her guards and aides with her, and one of them is Erskine Semaj. He's the one saying you don't need to know who it is, and that obviously she's very important. But the fact that we see him here, but he's one of the aides that we see with her when the Ghost crew pick her up in Rebels, and then when she does her big speech, she actually talks about and mentions the Gorman massacre, so we know that's coming. The Gorman massacre is a big thing in Legends. And obviously we haven't seen too much of it canon, but the fact that she mentioned it as part of her speech in Rebels, we know that's coming, and they've set it all up here. So it's coming eventually.
Damn, cool. That's awesome.
So again, nice little connection through to Rebels now. We're seeing it all come together, Brandon. We're seeing it all come together as one. Cole Cowan joining us again. Nice to see you, buddy. Plo Koon's mask. So not confirmed, or I should say they confirmed that it's not necessarily Plo Koon's, but obviously the same species.
A little Keldor mask.
Yeah.
And then Padme's one of her hairpiece. Yeah.
I mean, that was there in season 1. We saw that there. Again, out the back, we saw Starkiller's armor. That's still there. No one's bought that yet either. It seems it from Luthen shop. So some of the Easter eggs still from season 1 is still in his shop there. But not Plo Koon's mask, but one of the species. So the same species. But that's it in terms of the Easter eggs I've got through those episodes. I'm sure there might be little ones here and there. Again, I think it's just little bits here and there that maybe you can connect to, especially when there's a line that Krennic says where we can have unlimited power.
Yes.
Given that we've just seen Revenge of the Sith, obviously.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I'm sure we all know where that line comes from. So just little things like that are left over that sort of like, you're like, yeah, okay. They just mentioned that line and you can't help but connect it.
Yeah.
So, where do we go next week then, buddy, in terms of Andor episodes? What do you want to see? Because obviously next week is going to be 3 BBY. We're getting closer to that one destination.
Hopefully, I want to see more Andor. I want to see more Cassian in this coming week. Just give him a little more shine, and then maybe
he's the title character. We didn't really get to see much development of his character here.
Yeah. So maybe by the third week we get the Gorman Massacre. I think that would be kind of a good little setup. But yeah, I think I just want to see more Andor next week.
I think that's fair. Yeah. As we mentioned, I don't think you can concentrate on all the little side bits. You want to see the rebellion coming together, and that's the
Yeah.
whole point of having Luther and Mon Mothma in there, and even the ISB to a certain extent with Dedra and her
Yeah.
boss, because they're obviously involved with that. I mean, Tony Gilroy's come out this week as well, and he said that that we're not getting a Palpatine or Vader cameo in the series.
That's
We've
okay.
been lied to before.
Yeah.
So, especially since in the trailer there appeared to be a shot of Deirdre being force choked, but she could be having a panic attack because she was holding herself there. Especially now we've established she seems herself to have a little bit of PTSD left over. Do we get a little Vader cameo or a little Palpatine? I mean, we got Palpatine mentioned, obviously, but do we physically get anything from them in this series?
I'm just gonna go with his word. I don't think so. I bet it'd be cool to change the mind, but I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it would be a push to get for Palpatine. I don't think we'll see Palpatine. I think I think I said it to you before the season started that just one little scene where Vader's marched into the ISB and he's pissed at them because the rebellion just keep winning and getting results.
That would be awesome.
Would be a cool moment, and that's where he forced, or maybe the Gorman massacre happens and he thinks it was handled poorly, and so he goes in for a meeting with the ISB and he does just give Dedra a little force choke, just a reminder that failure will not be tolerated and that this is not the way it should have gone down. So I can't help but think a little bit of that may happen somewhere, or an Inquisitor maybe rather than Vader.
I'd be down with that. And see old maybe a little Rupert Friend chime in as a Grand Inquisitor. That'd be cool. I love me some Rupert Friend.
Just something to connect it. I think just because we all want a Force user. I mean, they teased us with Rogue One originally, and I remember them being asked are there any Jedi in Rogue One, and they went technically yes, because they were talking about Vader and obviously formerly being Anakin. So they're like masking things a little bit. So we can't help because obviously it's the big characters. We will love them anyway. But lots to come in the following weeks as we move forward. We're obviously going to be getting K2SO back. We're going to be getting Saw Gerrera. I'm sure we're probably going to get a little bit more Krennic. The big question of who everyone wants to see, though, are we going to get to see any Kino Loy?
No.
No? Okay. I'm disappointed. I want to see Kino. I want to see just somewhere pop up just to show that he survived.
A little more Andy. Yeah, I mean, I'd be cool with it, but do I think so? No, I don't think he'll pop up.
Fair enough. Because I see no reason why he couldn't have. People could have grabbed him and jumped into the water with him, and obviously kept him afloat whilst they swam to the shore.
Yeah,
or a group of them couldn't have done that. Because I know he couldn't swim, but he still could have done that. This is the dude that's obviously been in charge for a while, and he gave that rousing speech to help you all escape. So, for the love of God, help him off the fucking prison.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, I think that pretty much knocks it on the head for this week, buddy. I appreciate you dropping by as always. You're welcome anytime on the show. We do quite a bit together, to be fair. So
yeah,
you're always welcome. You have just kicked off season 2 of your podcast seasoning, haven't you? A Conversation by Clan Randalorian. How's that episode 1 gone?
Episode 1's gone awesome. It's actually with Jedi Bricks, who Mr. Sam. He does a lot of Lego leaks, reviews, and stuff like that. And I've actually been subscribed to him even before I started my channel. So it was just kind of weird to actually have a conversation with someone that I've always watched and been subscribed to. So it was cool to do that. It was kind of like a come to Jesus moment with a Lego legend. But yeah, it was really cool. So recording another episode tonight, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, we'll see what season 2 brings. Go check it out.
Lovely. Any big plans for your Star Wars anniversary next weekend?
Man, a lot of fun. We're gonna obviously get a nice dinner. Got a babysitter coming, so I mean we'll be perfectly in some good hands. But yeah, just enjoy the day and just kind of take it easy, pretty much. That's kind of what we do anymore. So, but yeah, it'll be awesome. Happy Star Wars Day.
How many years would this anniversary be?
It'll be 2 years marriage, 4 years together. So,
Nice,
yeah, man, awesome.
Absolutely beautiful. Mrs. Clan Brandalorian, we love you on the show as well.
Yes.
You two have a really good weekend next week. Again, you did it at the start. Let's do it again. Tell everyone where we can find you.
Clan Brandalorian, at Clan Brandalorian. Everything lore, theories, Funko, and Lego. Got the podcast on the side. Weekly, I try to go live at night for all you night owls on Mandalore. And then also lots of guest appearances. Finally got a lightsaber review coming. It's getting edited not as we speak, because I'm right here. But we're going through that. They got some new toys. And I also lied to you. I looked over to my right.
Oh, you bastard.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And it's amazing. It's that new artwork by Matthew. I can't remember his damn last name. But, I mean, it just looks so good.
That does look absolutely sick as hell.
But, yeah, and it's perfect. So I got gifted a Force Awakens, and it's at General Hux's speech. And it's all the stormtroopers around it with the big curtain. So those are the only 2 I got of the 11 movies. So maybe I'll have to get on eBay and search.
Oh, beautiful though. That looks absolutely beautiful. Because we got no posters or anything over here, and I'm just like fucking disappointed. They didn't make more of an effort for it. So I'm just like, you bastards! I need all the Revenge of the Sith merch. It's not fair.
Yeah.
But thank you, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. Everyone, make sure you're out there. You're subscribing to Clan Brandalorian across all his social media, and of course everywhere where you can find his podcast. I'll be back next week to chat about more Andor and see where this week takes us. Obviously 2 weeks to go after that. I'm on my own next week for my review of Andor, because it's been non-stop guesting for the last God knows how long, and I think it's time I did an episode by myself and just had a chill time, because it's been manic for the Galactical podcast the last few weeks. It's literally been 2 or 3 episodes a week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So make sure you go back, look at some of those episodes. Obviously, been covering Daredevil a lot recently. That's been absolutely amazing. Had the big 2-year anniversary episode as well about 3 weeks ago, which included Mr. Clan Brandalorian here, as well as Why So Sidious, Lights, Camera, Rant, and Krypton to Alderaan. 5 podcasts coming together for fun, games, quizzes, and we won't mention who won what, but let's just say the winners were blue.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, there's lots to catch up on for the last few weeks for the Galactic Core podcast. Obviously, we've got Andor to come as well, which I'm going to have Caleb from Why So Sidious is coming on. He missed the anniversary episode, so he said he'd come on and make it up to me and review some Andor in week 3. And then in week 4 is going to be a really good one as well, because I've actually got the Bitches of Dathomir podcast coming back on to talk about the finale of Andor, and we're going to chat about their trip to Star Wars Celebration in Japan as well.
Yes, awesome.
They got to go there, and I can't wait to chat to them about that. So stay tuned for the next few weeks. Go back and watch some episodes. It's all on YouTube and obviously Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But until next time, everyone, as absolutely always,
the Force will be with you, always.
Thanks for tuning in to the Galactic Core Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. But until next time, go get your geek on.